Welcome to Rebecca Sounds Reveille. Guess who we have back today? This is really great because we have somebody who is known all across the region as that little ball of joy and energy, and that she is. We have had her now on, and she is a regular returning guest who really has been so inspirational to so many people, not only in her age group as a girlpreneur and a best-selling double author, actually more than that now, and a motivational speaker, but to our age group too, all across the board. She brings so much motivation to the table. It is fantastic. She's a speaker, an actress, a voiceover talent, a teen influencer, and she has really been just continuing to be on the move. She's got more stuff that we're going to talk about today. We also want to talk about her new book, and we really want to go over this one again. This is going to be a lot of fun and more. So let's bring Arianna Fox back on. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. So great to be on as per usual.
I am absolutely excited because you are just doing so many things. And since we spoke last time, I've been watching the things that you've had going on social media, and wow. I'm sitting here going, yes, this is great. And there's just more and more that you're doing. Tell me a little bit about what's been going on.
Oh my word, so much stuff. It's crazy. I've been doing a lot of voiceover work. I've been doing a lot of writing and lots of stuff going on with Sabre Black that I'm sure we'll talk about. And then also just the other day, just like I think either yesterday or the day before, the day before, we actually we had finally done, and I had done a business pitch that I had been preparing for and memorizing for a long time, and I'm really, really excited about that. It's for a competition called Swim with the Sharks, and it helps basically the youth of Delaware right now. So it helps kids to get their business pitch out there for a prize of possible $10,000. So pretty exciting.
Yeah, let's talk about this for a second, because I've got to tell you, no matter what age group that you're in, doing a business pitch is really sort of gut-wrenching in a lot of ways, because you've got to get that pitch right to get whatever it is that you're shooting for, if it's a contract or in this case $10,000. So tell us a little bit about the challenges that you had with how you wanted to do this and make it move to the way, really how you wanted it.
Right. No, absolutely. It was definitely a challenge. My parents helped me out a lot with it because for most speeches, I would kind of do it now just myself. But with this one, I'm like, okay, I need help because I've never written a business pitch before. And, we need to really make it powerful and make it pop. So it was a very interesting learning experience for me to just kind of learn how to create one that is not just like, okay, so this is the fact and this is the fact and hopefully I wowed you. It's like, no, you have to really, have that energy, and you have to bring, but you also have to bring, and this is something that was new to me because I've always been doing motivational speaking, but this was more of also they want to see the facts too, and they want to see how is this going to benefit the Delaware economy. So it was just a really, really interesting learning curve for me. So we were writing it, I was memorizing it. I actually had to make a keynote presentation, kind of like a PowerPoint presentation in essentially 30 minutes right before I was about to do it. So that was fun. It was really great.
So do you recommend that the younger generation, younger than myself, your age group, maybe even a little bit younger, start learning how to do this? Because ultimately, this is a very competitive arena across the board, entertainment, just about anything actually. And so you have to set yourself apart, but ultimately, the one thing people fail to do besides making themselves shine on there and telling them why you are a good candidate is what you are going to bring to the company where they're going to benefit. And that's a big deal.
It is, and you're exactly right. To answer your question, I definitely think that kids and teens should have a little bit more of that, that opportunity to learn how to do that, because they're going to need to eventually, whether it's their own business pitch or somehow just to know is really good. Nowadays in the educational systems, there is not a lot of financial literacy and financial education. That's kind of a sad thing, but we see so little of educating kids for one of the most important things in their lives that they're going to have to figure out. They learning math is amazing, learning history is incredible, learning science is awesome, but finances is really one of the biggest things that you need to know in life. So I think that that definitely should be something they should know, is how to make a business pitch or how to write a pitch in general. Like definitely like
I totally agree, because business is everywhere, no matter what type of area of life that it is, there's a business in it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
right.
Understanding business pitches, proposals, what ROI means, which is the return on investment, and that's what it's all about. What does that company get out of this? Exactly. And so the thing is, learning that early on allows you to be a good business entrepreneur, either for yourself or helping someone else, or getting into a company, understanding how business works. So this is fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree with you. And like you said, it's all about ROI. And it's like some people, it's a nice balance, because, it's really important to know about money and finances, but it's also important not to keep your head only on that, to know that, it's all about the journey as well. So it's a really life, to quote Dr. Seuss from Oh, the Places You'll Go, he said, life is a great balancing act. And it's so true. Life is a great balancing act. It's something you have to, focus on how you can make money so you can survive, but you also have to focus on the positivity and the gratitude and all of that,
So true. So, okay, so this is quite exciting what you have going on. Tell me also now, what's next that you've been doing?
So many things.
I know.
So many things. Voiceovers those are huge right now for me. I think I mentioned this last time. It's amazing how much the voiceover industry is booming right now, because it is right now with COVID-19, there are still some restrictions in some places. And so it's all at home recording, at home studio, getting the microphone and recording from home. And it's huge, because now people are using all this extra time to make animated movies, animated shorts, and all kinds of things, and making commercials and all these things that voiceovers are needed for. And it's perfect because everybody has this time at home. So that's been a huge thing here, definitely.
That is exciting. Now, let me ask you, does it get tiring sitting there trying to read or reread so that you can get it right? Yeah. How does it work? Because I know a lot of people are probably going, okay, what is in it? Is somebody sitting in a small box and trying to just look at the words that are, in front of them?
Yeah, no, great question. For me, so it was actually really funny, because for a while I was in an actual little tiny studio down in our basement that we have, but because of some things we had to do to renovate the house, we actually have it up in the office now. And so it's not the ideal, the perfect recording studio, because the perfect would have literally those foam things on the walls everywhere, blocked in, completely airtight. But we do have a buzzer, what is it called? It's those pop filter, pop filter for the microphone. So that way it filters out stuff. And then also you have to learn a little bit of editing. This is something I was actually I thought this was very interesting. So to answer that question, it really depends on the voice actor and the voice studio, because it really depends. We have ours out of our office, and some have it in this tiny enclosed claustrophobic studio, and so but it really does depend. But one of the things that has surprised me, that I have had to learn and found kind of fun to learn at the same time, is audio editing. Now, when a lot of times there will be projects where if you are a voice actor, then all you have to do is just record, make sure you have good sound as best as it can be, and then send it off to the people. And they oftentimes have an audio engineer. That's what they call an audio engineer or audio editor. And so that happens a lot. A lot of times also, maybe about 40% of the time, you'll also be asked to edit your audio and make sure that it's completely free of pops and buzzes. And, if you're getting excited and you move your hand and it makes a popping sound, that's not cool, So that is a big thing that I've actually realized, like, oh, wow, I also have to not just do the voices, but also get into editing it a little bit. And over the years, I told my parents, I was like, wow, I'm kind of surprised. I can make it like almost seamless with like, okay, I say one thing and then another thing and put them together and it sounds like the same sentence. So, but you have to know how to do that too, over time. So yeah, just kind of stuff like that. But it's a really fun thing. And if you have all the equipment you need, it's pretty easy. And I know some people who I've talked to that they said like, oh yeah, I couldn't do voiceover work because I don't have the voice for voiceover work. No, chances are you do, because people need voices for any kind of voice and every kind of voice, like whether it's a light, soothing, angelic voice or a deep baritone voice, or if it's scratchy and rough and you're like, oh no, I can't, I have this scratchy voice. I'm sure there's a character out there who needs that voice,
Yes.
So exactly. So that's one of the coolest things, like in the actual acting industry. People sometimes just have to have that acting face, that they have to look right, they have to act right, they have to do all kinds of things, and oftentimes they're just not right for the role, or some people may not even be right for acting. But voiceover acting is something that pretty much anyone can get into, so I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that this is so neat, and I'm glad that you're getting a lot of work that way. Mm-hmm. And so you have a book.
Yes, I do.
We talked a little bit about before, but let's talk about it again, because there's some things that you want to share.
Absolutely. Which one?
Oh,
I have 3.
I know you do, but let's see. Okay, so let's go with how about
the latest one?
We can do maybe, I'm thinking about
the third
this.
one.
How about Sabre Black? Let's go with Sabre Black.
Go with that. Awesome. Okay, so here we go. Sabre Black I'm really excited about this. It is my latest book. It's my 3rd book and it just came out, but we are doing a relaunch of this. And what it is it is a young adult / teen fantasy sci-fi mix about a teenage girl named Sabre Black, and about these winged people, these people who have wings basically, and the good guys are called Sarahs and the bad guys are called Sendars. Now the main character, Sabre, she is a Sendar. She's born a Sendar, but she fights for the Sarahs. So the question is she good? Is she bad? Is she both? That's pretty much the synopsis there.
I love it. And I'm glad that this is something else that's re-popping. I really think that this is exciting. And the one thing that you mentioned last time was how much of an influence this is going to be for the reader to really bring out the good within themselves and basically in humanity.
Absolutely. 100%. And this is going to be a huge influence on people, I think, because it delves into a lot of issues on, okay, should I be fighting for, tradition and what I know, or should I be fighting for what I know and feel in my heart is right? And, which is right and wrong. And, it's just this really hard battle that a lot of people have to fight, that I think everyone probably goes through at least once in their life, trying to figure things out. And I think that this book will hopefully help these people to kind of have a little bit of a better understanding, and just like you said, to kind of bring out the good in people. And the main character, she's a very relatable character. My parents love her. She's just a very relatable, teen who is not, one of those teens who just snaps at their parents or it sets a bad example. She is a little sarcastic because that's what teens are into these days, apparently, but she's not sarcastic at people that, are authority figures or anything. Sometimes she has problems and she has pasts that she's trying to avoid. I think a lot of teens can relate with this as well. She has some stuff in her past that she does not like, that she's trying to run from. And two of the main sayings about Sabre Black that we use is, number one, don't let your past define your future. And also there was another one, your past does not define you, something to that effect. And that's because that's what Sabre has to learn, that your past does not define your future. That's the other one. Changed by her past, defined by her future. So that fun stuff.
And you expand upon a lot of the principles of this book with your TV show.
Yes, indeed.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because all of this culminates together to bring some really well-rounded applications within our own life. And it's really neat to see how well you influence people through your writing, as well as the things that you share, and also through your performances. So let's talk a little bit about that too.
Thank you so much. And yeah, absolutely. So I have an Instagram show. I am and actually was a radio show host for some time. So that's cool too. But yes, I am an Instagram show host of a show called Teen Topics. And that airs every month, and we got one coming up next September, I believe September 4th actually. It's every Saturday, the first Saturday of every month. And it is about interviewing kids and also just talking about inspiration, entrepreneurship, motivation, fashion, technology, creativity, all that. And I also love to interview. I have usually 2 guests each time. It varies, but usually 2 guests each time that they're making some kind of difference in the community of teenagers, adolescents, and young adults and kids as well. And whether they're a teen themselves that's actually contributing to the community, like for example, they're an entrepreneur or they're some other doing amazing things at a young age, or whether they're an adult who is helping teens a lot. So just different things like that. I love to make it fun, make it exciting for people to watch, not just boring. I usually start off with some little bit of a song I know or something, and just little things like that. But I'm really excited.
You've been doing a lot of really neat video posts, and
thank you.
They've been very, very inspirational.
Thank you.
The message has been fantastic. So I've been really excited to see the things that you have had going on. And what else is on your plate?
So much. So
I know.
Oh, acting. Yay. So we've got an amazing film short that's coming up that my daddy is working on that I'm so excited to talk about. It's called The Box in the Basement. And this is something I'm just honestly proud of him and of the project, because it has gone a mighty long way, and it has come a mighty long way, should I say, and it has really been an adventure and a lot of fun. But it's also a really touching movie that is in the works right now, and I'm so excited. Some of the scenes almost made me cry. Definitely made both my parents cry. It's just such a great movie. So what it's about, a quick synopsis, is it is a sci-fi-ish movie that was originally a film short and then turned into a film medium and is now a full-length feature film. And it is about a young girl, which is me, I'm the lead character, Avery, and she is essentially right now, her life sucks. She's going through a really tough time, and she just lost her brother. She is getting bad grades. She's being bullied by school classmates, and she's just having and her parents are arguing. And one of the things that her parents are mainly arguing about is this box that's in the basement, this mysterious box that is being hidden, and they don't want, one of them wants Avery to have it because that was how it was supposed to be, but the other one's like, no, it's too dangerous. So Avery's like, what is this box? So she goes down into the basement and finds this box. Essentially, there's a warning that it has power to transport you into the future, into your own future. Your own future.
Future.
Exactly. And you can see the future, but if you touch it for too long, then essentially what happens is that everyone you know and love will cease to exist. And so Avery, but she doesn't hear the last part. She doesn't hear the warning. And all she hears is and sees is her future self having fun, laughing, having a great life. And she so desperately wants to just jump to that future, just wants to go there. But she has to make the choice herself without hearing the warning. She has to make the choice herself. Okay, should I just go and, you know, and go into my future where everything's happy and fun? Or should I make my future to be good and to be that happy future? Should I touch people's lives and help people in order to get to that, you know, into that future? So it's a really, really exciting project. I'm so happy to be a part of it. My daddy has been wearing so many hats for this. He's the director, producer, creator, scriptwriter, editor of the whole actual film, and a billion other things. So it's great.
When I heard that you were a lead in a feature film, I was so excited because I was thinking these things are just starting to unfold and happen for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Just not that long ago, we were talking about some of the other things that were pretty significant. And this is a major.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it.
So between voiceovers and acting, do you have any time for writing? Are you working on another book? Have you got something in mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel like the answer to that is yes and no. because because I'm not working on any particular books right now to be published. And I'm always writing in general, always writing just random stories. But the yes is because I am working on a little bit of a novella that I may not be publishing on Amazon or anything like that, but I will probably be publishing it on maybe more of a virtual site like Wattpad or something like that I'm really excited about as well. That I just started as a sort of a writing prompt, and then it just launched into this full-fledged novella. It's already like 76 pages and I think around 20,000 words. And I'm just like, how did that happen? But it's really exciting. I'm very excited for it as well.
Well, this is something that you said is really exciting. This is really great to have writing prompts.
Yes.
And oftentimes, even if you are a well-versed writer and you have writer's block, those prompts can get the creativity kind of flowing again. Mm-hmm. And if you're just new to writing, these help you develop.
It's so true.
Yes, much more than where you're at right now. It just really has you blossom.
Yeah, absolutely. And also it's all about, like, I like to tell people, because sometimes, unfortunately, it's kind of a common sight in the writing community where I kind of hang out. Sometimes I see other writers that constantly talk about their lack of motivation. And it kind of drives me insane because they totally have the ability to motivate themselves, but a lot of times these lacks of motivation are not just like, okay, I'm feeling down in the dumps, but it's like literally like they could if they wanted to, but they don't. And so it's also about, if you find something inspiring, then use that and work with that and make it happen. For example, the thing that started this story that I'm working on, it actually wasn't even a quote writing prompt. It was actually, I don't know if you've ever seen these before, if you're on Facebook. It's like one of those tag games, where it says tag this person tag this person. And, it's like basically the tag was originally, it was a door in the middle of a forest, and it said, you have to go through this door and explore this forest with your second attention or something like that. And I thought, what if I turned that into a writing prompt? And then I thought, okay, what if I turn that into a story? And that was kind of where it went. So not only are writing prompts amazing, but just finding the inspiration and motivation in little things that you may never think of, you know?
And it's so therapeutic too. I mean, even if you weren't thinking to yourself, I want to write a book, just creating your own short stories for just self-development. These things are really great too. It's just so therapeutic to write in general. But if you look at it I want to develop some things internally. As you're doing that, there is just so much with, do you write things out with your hand or do you type things out?
Both. I like to use multiple methods when I do things. And I like to, for example, I don't professionally draw at all. I just like to do it sometimes every once in a while. But when I draw, I like to draw sometimes on paper, sometimes digitally. I really like to kind of have a variance in everything that I do, and especially with writing. So I have many prompts that I actually wrote out on paper, but I write a lot of times digitally. And I even actually right behind me, if you can see right here, I have a typewriter.
I love it. I love it. So this goes back to what you said from the beginning about balance.
Yes.
Because all of those skills are really important and they really develop different parts of you. So this is really exciting. Let me ask you too. Now, as far as with the things that you've had going between the voiceovers and acting, do you still have time for other things, or is this really taking a lot of time and attention to focus on what the projects that you have right now?
Right. No, absolutely. And I think that's kind of where a schedule and daily routine and list of priorities is so important. But yeah, it does take a lot of time. My voiceovers take a decent amount of time. Usually it depends on the script that I get, and it depends on the voiceover project I'm doing. Some of them are super simple because they're commercials. They're like 30-second commercials. Thus they only take about maybe 5 minutes to record, to record all of them. Other ones are, for video games and for animated series where I need to actually have, it's like a long list. I mean, I had one where I was literally almost the whole day from like 12 to 4 in a hot, non-air conditioned part of the house because we couldn't have the air conditioning on because it created too much noise, and it was like that for hours, and I had to like be on this call doing voiceovers with a team. So it really does depend. But the acting takes so much time because you have to, especially for auditions and such, you have to memorize. So it really does. And even like I was telling you about the pitch, memorizing for the pitch, that took a lot of time as well, like a big amount of time. But those are productive things. They're very good things that should take your time. And, we still try to make sure that I have at least a little bit of time to do free time, so to speak, or to do things afterward. But
so are there secrets to memorization on There is?
Well, it's really interesting because I've had kind of an interesting journey with memorization that I'm finally thinking I'm starting to get somewhere with it. Because for a long time, I don't know if I mentioned this in one of the past interviews, but for a long time, I was kind of I was struggling with acting, and I even once I thought that maybe it wasn't for me and I should just give up on acting. And it had to do with a lot of reasons. And I tell this to a lot of people when I'm doing my speaking events because it has also to do with not letting your past define you. But one of the things, like you were saying about memorization, it was so hard. I would just try to memorize it in all the vigor and all the stuff that I would normally be performing it in, but I'd be doing it over and over. So I'd be all like, my brows would be furrowed, and then that means I would get a headache, and I'd be like, oh, then I'd take medicine, and then I would feel sick. And I'm just like, oh my word, this memorization is just, how do I get past this? Yes. And so then we were just kind of trying different things, trying different ways and styles and different methods. And some would work, some were just kind of iffy. And right now, what's seeming to work the most is something that my mommy has been doing a lot because she was in theater. And essentially it's taking a paragraph, whatever, and dissecting it. And with one sentence, you just repeat it over and over again and just kind of get it in your head and do whatever creative liberty you want to do with it that will help you out. For example, my mommy and I are learning ASL. So one of the things that I'll do is, like, for example, if there's say a sentence that says, I want to go home, right? And I'm trying to remember it. So what I'll do is I'll repeat, I want to go home. I want to go home. And also, if it helps you, I sometimes do it in different voices too, just to make it fun and also to make it very kind of varied. So, I want to go home. I want to go home, man. All that stuff. And then sometimes if I want to make it even more ingrained in my head, I'll do ASL as I do it. I'll say, I want to go home, And so it's just any creative liberties that will help you as you go along. And I think that really doing that and then doing that over and over and over again, got that sentence, next sentence, over and over again, both sentences, and then keep going until you have the whole paragraph. That's been the thing that's really helped me the most.
Interesting, because there are so many people that struggle with memorization, especially in the acting arena. And even if you have to do a pitch, like you were saying, or you have to go in front of a lot of people, sometimes stage fright kicks in. So what I like to share about what I like about what you have said is that by changing the voices that you and the way that you said it, I do think that those kind of things will actually help it stick a little bit better.
Yeah. I got another one too, another tip for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
Another one is if you have time, and it's not like, okay, I have to get this in one day, but if you have at least like 2 days to memorize, I would highly suggest sleeping over it. And for some people, it may sound like, okay, sleeping over it, but you're not memorizing, you're not actively working on it. No, that's the point, and it helps. I remember there was this one time I was memorizing for a speech, and I was like, oh man, I can't get this. And I was just like, all right, I'll go over it one more time and gonna go to sleep. Wake up in the morning and I have it all down. I'm like, what happened? But what really happens is that when you're sleeping, it's like they say it's kind of like a massage for your brain, because liquids kind of wash over your brain, and it's just kind of like your brain clears out of all this junk that it's been filled with throughout the day. And the stuff that you make sure sticks, like for example, your monologue or whatever you're planning on memorizing, that sticks in the next day, and it sticks even more. And it's crazy. It's like, whoa, I can't believe you do that. So if you have extra days, then I highly recommend sleep. And it's just also about making sure that you fill your head with not like too much stuff. One of my favorite books of all time is the Sherlock Holmes series by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And one of the quotes in it that I absolutely love from Sherlock Holmes says, imagine that your brain is like a little brain attic, and you fill it with such furniture as you choose. And I absolutely love that, because it's so true. It's like little thought furniture that you fill in your little brain attic. It's so cute, but it's true. When you fill your head with stuff, it's so hard to find what you're looking for. And so if you just kind of keep it clean and organized, then you're like, oh, I know what to look for,
Have you ever, and now you do this with your voiceovers, but have you ever, to memorize something, recorded it and then played that back and just continued to listen to it repeatedly?
Yeah, absolutely. In which acting or voiceover acting?
In acting.
Acting, yeah, absolutely, 100%. So I usually work with my parents a lot of times on delivery and how best to do it, but I have done that so many times where I've gotten my phone right there and then just done it, and then I look back and it really works, because sometimes you pick stuff up that you did and you're like, I did that? It's so crazy. When for one of the roles that my mommy was playing for a TV series, it was so funny because we were like coaching her on how to do the character best, and she was doing it, and she recorded herself and she played it back, and she's like, why is my head all like a bobblehead? I'm like, why am I moving my head all like this and stuff? I'm like, that is so weird. But you wouldn't really catch that when you're in the moment, when you're doing it. But when you record it and you play it back, you do catch it.
It's Absolutely. A good thing that you're mentioning that right now, because oftentimes we tend to just deliver something and we don't think about it. But you're taking me back to when I was being trained on how to be an effective public speaker. And one of the things that they had us do was get up in front of a room of people and deliver a speech that we had to prepare. And it was recorded. They played it back, and you got to see all these little nervous habits that you have.
Right.
It makes you more cognizant of how things come out subconsciously through your behavior. And it's very, very fascinating. Also, to do that with your voice, especially when you're doing voiceovers and you're looking at how do I make this seamless and sound just very fluid without any hiccups, and all of those things. We generally speak without thinking. All of that just comes out. But by playing back your recordings, you hear the things that you do, and it's really fascinating to hear it.
Yeah. And also I would suggest another thing for when it comes to memorizing for speeches. So what I was mentioning was like for really memorizing anything, but when it comes to speeches, one big thing is not to start with just memorizing it all at once. And even by that, I don't mean like memorizing the whole thing at once, but I mean, even sentence by sentence, that's great. But my opinion and my advice for memorizing a speech is do it after you have the outline. My parents and I have gotten outlines together all the time when we do speeches, workshops, all that stuff. And it's essentially, if we have a lot to talk about, and it's not just like a monologue per se, but it's like, okay, so next we're going to talk about, why this water bottle is great, that kind of thing. And then go on to other things. Then, okay, you want to create, if you don't have it already, an outline. Okay, number 1, number 2, number 3, why this water bottle is great, etc. And then you memorize that outline first. Are you going to be saying it? No, but you still want to memorize it because then it helps you remember what comes next. Yeah, so that's really helpful.
Especially if you get to a point where you're stuck and you're like, what is next? Yeah. This is a really good point too to talk about in essence, because oftentimes when we're writing, even if it's a book, it's so important to have an outline, and then you do your rough draft. There's steps to make all of this very successful. Yes. Or I should say a successful outcome. So whether it's a book or a speech, a memorization, all of these things, those bullet points take you. They're the little stepping stones to getting you to your destination. And so I like how you put that.
Thank you.
Brought that up about doing an outline, because just all these secret insights are going to be a lot of fun for the audience, I think, on this show.
Definitely 100%. And you're exactly right about outlines when it comes to books. I laughed because I have a very funny story about that, where with my second book, False Awakening, originally, silly me, when I first started writing it, I had no outline. The only thing I knew of a quote plot was, oh yeah, you need to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. That's it, right? Like, past self, that is not it. So it was really funny because I was like, I think it's great, woohoo! And I took it to my editor, and she's like, it doesn't really seem like it has a plot, like it has a backbone. And I'm all like, yeah, it does. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And she's like, no, that's not how you write a book. That is absolutely not. So absolutely, that's for any of you writers in the audience, that's a big, big, big tip. You can totally freestyle if you're a pantser, which that's what some people, there are 2 types of writers that are called, now 3 really, but like there are three types of writers that people say. There are plotters, pantsers, and plantsers. Plotters are the people that like to plot everything out before they write anything. They just like to plot and get everything and get a whole whole style of it all. The pantsers, they call them that because they like to write by the seat of their pants. I am originally a pantser because I just love to write and I don't really care. I used to not really care about plots as much. A plantser is someone who's kind of in between. But the thing is that whether you're a plotter, a pantser, or a planter, the point is that you do need, not for your regular like pet projects, you can do whatever you want, but when it comes to actually writing a book to publish, you do need a plot. You absolutely need a plot. So yeah.
You do. It'll get tossed. If you don't have a plot, it's going to get tossed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because the reader doesn't know where to go or what's, I mean, like, it's just one of those things. You have to have a plot. Gotta have that plot. Yeah. So, okay. So let me ask you this before I let you go. What's coming? I know you guys, can you share what's coming? That's the question. That is the question.
No, absolutely. I would say a lot of writing. Keep your eyes peeled for Sabre Black, you guys, because that is one of the biggest things that is coming right now, is a relaunch, a full relaunch of that. And we are beyond excited. In fact, we're solidifying. I'm pretty sure we've already solidified a date, but when we do, just keep your eyes peeled on all of our social media accounts where you can see that. And yeah, 100%. That's one of the biggest things right now. In addition, also keep your eyes peeled for any new clips and things from Box in the Basement, because that is also coming out hopefully very soon. We keep asking our daddy, like, okay, when is it coming out? He's like, I'm trying. But just keep your eyes peeled. He loves to share little clips here and there when he gets a scene done. So if you go to either my page or also the page, I'll be sharing contact information later, but all that stuff, you will see it. In addition, keep your eyes peeled for all the other little things. Like right now, there's nothing huge, like for example, a big, huge speaking event, but I do have a lot of little things that I'm working on that are my own projects I'm really excited to share with you guys. One of them is actually an audio series that I'm putting together. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I actually was able to cast everybody for the first episode, and I'm working on it right now already. And I am also a voiceover actress in this as well. So I'm recording my own lines. I already recorded it, and now I'm putting it all in with background music, sound effects, all that stuff. And I'm hoping it sounds pretty professional. So I'm really excited about this project and hope to get it out soon. But yeah.
I'm excited about all of the things that you have going on. One of the biggest right now is your book, because I think that it needs to be in the hands of a lot of people across the board. There's not one, I know that you have a target age audience, but I think that this is going to be so good for ages young and older, or a little bit more mature, like
absolutely.
myself.
My mommy read the book, and besides being, me being her daughter, she was like, okay, take all that aside. She gave this amazing review on Goodreads. I was like, oh, but it literally made her cry twice, like really hard, because there are touching scenes that I was just like, I made you cry. I'm so honored. But that's unfortunately how us writers think. We're just like, really?
Well, yeah, if it's evoking emotion, that says a lot.
Exactly. No, you're exactly right.
That's a big purpose, because you want your audience to get involved in it as if they're there.
Yes, and you want them to care about the characters. You really, it was interesting because when I was reading 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne, one of the best books ever, oh my goodness, when I was reading it, at first I was like, I wasn't too hooked. I thought it was really a really cool idea, but the characters, it was like, okay. And then once I got around chapter 6, he just suddenly started fleshing out the characters so much more, and I was like, I'm in. I want to read this. I want to read this to the end. And exactly. Yeah, I'm not letting it go. So and then I read the whole thing, and I was just like, I want to read this again. So, but that's so important that one person, I remember it was for a Christian author, and I forget what book it was, but it wasn't really exactly of the best quality. And one of the people who reviewed it, said that it was a good story, good plot, well-rounded, but the characters had no depth, and thus they didn't really care about what happened to them. If one of them died, if one of them got injured, if one of them, you know, something terrible happened in their lives, they didn't really care because they weren't there with them. I think that it's so important to have characters that are deep and, you know, that people can relate to, you know.
And like you said, you're there.
You're there.
Be there. Because if you can get into it, you can imagine it, and you're visualizing this as you're reading. Yeah, you're there. So let the audience know how they can get in contact with you, follow everything that you're doing, watch your TV show, all of it.
All right, here we go, everybody. What? Drum roll, please.
I love it.
Absolutely. So for me, you can find me all over the place on social media. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok as A Fox Author. You can also find me on LinkedIn and YouTube as Arianna Fox. And for my parents and what they're doing with Box in the Basement and all that, you can find them on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn and Instagram and YouTube, as well as either Splash Design Works, Splash DW, or Official Mike Fox. And then also, yes, the Teen Topic Show. So you can find previous episodes of that. Yes, you can find previous episodes of that on my Instagram, because it's an Instagram show. You can find that on my IGTV section, but also keep your eyes peeled for when I make announcements for the next episodes, because there are definitely more to come. And for my books, you can find those all over the place as well. My first book, my children's book, The Princess Chronicles, is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and I think a few other places, and also on my site, ariannafox.com, ARIANNAFOX.com, for personalized signed copies. And same goes with False Awakening. Amazon, it's actually a sci-fi best-selling novel on Amazon, so that's super exciting. So yes, on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and my site for personalized signed copies. Sabre Black, we are so excited about this. It is now available, but we're going to be doing a big relaunch anyway, but you can still buy it 100%. It's on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, and Goodreads, and so many other sites I don't even remember, but you can probably find it anywhere. And then also very soon they will be available for signed copies as well on my site. Woo-hoo.
That's fantastic. I'm super excited about all of this. And I want to thank you, Arianna, for coming on all the time. You're just so energetic, and you bring so much to the table for the audience to think about, to be engaged in, to be inspired by. And I just want you to know how much joy that you bring me. And I'm so thankful to have you on each and every time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I am so grateful, for real, every single time that you bring me on. I'm just like, oh my goodness, another opportunity to be able to just chat, to inspire people. And also, you know, I absolutely love these opportunities. You are rocking it. And I love also, I know I've mentioned this before, I just love the name of this. Rebecca Sounds Reveille. I love, go ahead.
I got to have people wake up and
yes!
listen.
Exactly.
To what we have to say.
I'm learning French, so just the other day I learned the word for wake up, and that's se réveiller, and that's where the word comes from. Reveille comes from se réveiller, and so just like I was like, yeah, I love it. It's amazing. Just wake up call.
I love words, and this how it started is because of my military background, and that is what the name is, to wake Marines, soldiers, sailors up in the morning is the Reveille call. So yeah, I want to wake people up to things that are going to make a difference in their life. So thank you again for being here today. We're going to have you back here shortly.
Absolutely. I look forward to being here shortly. Yeah.
Woo-hoo! Woo-hoo! All right. And I want to thank all of you for tuning into another episode of Rebecca Sounds Reveille. We love Arianna. She is so fantastic. And I hope that you have really been able to take a lot of notes from today's show. If not, catch the replay, because you want to use all of these tips and tricks. You'll need them at some point, or somebody that you know in your life is going to need it. So make sure you get this out to all your friends, family, everybody you know on social media, and everybody you don't. Ciao for now.